Internet. I'm Elliot the Purple-Haired Doofus, and welcome to my bed. And the first in a series of videos that I'm going to be calling Pages to Screen, where I review books that are about to hit the screen in some way, whether it's the big screen or the little screen. The first book that I will be reviewing is The BFG by Roald Dahl. Now, the thing about the BFG is that the chapters aren't numbered. So I'm just going to say I read up to page 25. And I don't want to spoil what happens on page 25, but since some books have different page numbers than other books, let's just say that I read up to the chapter BFG, but not the chapter the BFG. Now, the beginning of the book starts with Sophia, and she is lying in bed at her orphanage, and she is having trouble sleeping in the night because there's a small sliver of moonbeam kind of cutting through the curtains. And she's not supposed to get out of bed, she's not supposed to move from her bed, but she does anyways, in an attempt to close the covers so that she can sleep that night. And she walks over to the curtains, and she looks through them and sees the bright moon, and she looks down the street, and she sees this monstrosity. It's a guy, but he's like 4 times the size of any guy that she's ever seen. And he's taken this horn and he's blowing it into windows, and she has no idea what any of that is all about. But then it starts walking closer down her street, and she's like, oh no, hold on a second. Now, little Sophia, she ran and she hid under her covers while she could hear this monstrosity kind of tromping down the street, looking in windows and blowing his giant horn into them. And she was terrified as she could hear the footsteps getting closer and closer and closer. And eventually, they stopped. And she sat there. She waited. And she heard her window open. She crouched down even smaller. And she heard this hand move into the room. And she felt it wrap around her and her covers. And lift her up. Oh no! So, this thing had, it kind of snatched Sophia up in her blanket, and it was like, it was carrying her across the world. It was just so high, and so very fast. It was like a blur, all the way across the countries and the oceans, and it dragged her all the way to his place in this little cave. Well, I say little, but it gets kind of what's the word? Relative, because it's not really little to her. It's just kind of little to him, and he brings her in and oh, crap. Okay, so he brings her in and she's looking at all of these empty jars, and he takes off his cloak, and she finds that he looks kind of like what I imagine her grandpa being described as. Old, wrinkly, giant ears, a long pointy nose. Oh, Jesus. Okay, so she gets put down, she's looking at all of the jars and everything, and then he notices her. And he looks down at her in his special way. He says, well, what do we have here? And I'll describe that special way tomorrow, because that is the end of our section for today. I don't have a question to answer, since this is the beginning of the book, but maybe one to ask. Did you ever have any childhood nightmares or dreams that disturbed you that you would like to discuss? If so, let me know down in the comments that are so very down low, and I will have my answer for you tomorrow. You should also know that after I finish this book, I will be reading the Preacher comic book series. So if you haven't read that yet, I suggest you go out and you grab it and you read it before I ruin it for you. Borrow it from a friend, borrow it from a library, buy it at a bookstore, buy it on a Kindle. I don't care how you do it, as long as it's legal. I've been Elliot, the purple-haired, big friendly giant, and we've been talking about the BFG by Roald Dahl. And I will see you all in the next chapters of the BFG by Roald Dahl. Toodles!